This episode is literally during the week of all three major holidays, beginning on the same day, which is December 25th. And we are going to party all night, right? It is Christmas, it is Hanukkah, and it is Kwanzaa. And so, this episode, I talk about the excitement of it all, but I also talk about the new activity we did in my house that created an opportunity in business, so in the salon and spa, but also my personal life. And so I share that with you. I'm sharing also little things here and there that do happen in our lives, and it affects how we show up in the salon and spa and how it affects our clients, our business, and all of our relationships. Are you a beauty or barber pro looking for that push to do that thing you've always wanted to do, whether it's in or out of the salon, spa, or shop? Are you tired of not feeling good enough, smart enough, skilled enough? Are you tired of not getting a handle on your mental health, boundaries, and insecurities? I'm Krystine Sherwood, the BeautyPro coach, an internationally certified coach, a salon and spa owner, and your personal Jiminy Cricket. I use my own experiences, good and bad, as a salon owner to help you be more self-aware, authentic, and forward-thinking in your approach to life, in and out of the salon. It's time to reach your version of success with the Beauty Pro Coach podcast. Babes, it is Christmahkwanzikah, okay? It is the time. It is so fabulous. I'm so excited. If you cannot tell, I love celebrating everything, all the things. Like, if it is a holiday and there is like a big, huge lesson behind it, I am about it, right? So this year, it only happens like every so often. This year, December 25th is Christmas Day. Then at sundown, it is Hanukkah, the Jewish holiday of Hanukkah, the festival of lights, the feast of dedication. And it is Kwanzaa, okay, which I am a big actual history nerd, and I love to research things and find out the reason why and what it is and why do we celebrate it and what's the big deal and blah, 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 blah. And I looked it up. Like, I was like, what truly is Kwanzaa, right? Like, what is it? Must be some historical thing in Africa. Okay, so I'm sharing you this because this is what I found out. So it turns out that Kwanzaa is actually started in the 60s, 1966, I believe. I don't remember the name of the guy who started it, but it was in 1966 to celebrate African American heritage, which I think is awesome. I think it's great. And then I was like, all right, cool. Cool, cool, cool. And it's really celebrated in Jamaica. It's really celebrated in, I think it said Brazil, which I thought was really interesting. And then I was like, okay, well, is it celebrated in Africa, like in the countries of Africa? And it turns out that from what I looked up on Google, I don't need anybody attacking me, okay, in the DMs or sending me hate mail. This is just what I read on Google, so don't kill the messenger. Turns out that the countries in Africa, the tribes, people, they actually don't really celebrate Kwanzaa. It is not a thing. Okay? There are certain aspects of Kwanzaa that they celebrate, but it's not the same. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Of course, I have never been to Africa. I do not have that heritage, but I thought it was very interesting because, again, I love history, I love cultures, I love all of those things. So I thought, wow, that's really cool. And then, of course, Hanukkah. Um, that was I have not. I am a Sephardic Jew, but we don't celebrate Hanukkah, right? But I do know it's the Festival of Lights. It's when the Maccabees, there was a group of Jews that went to fight, and it was an 8-day fight, and there was low oil to keep them fighting, keep them going to save the Temple of Jerusalem. And the whole miracle was that they had enough oil for their lamps, and it was the whole festival for it. And Turns out dreidels are actually German, and the food and the family time, and it correlates with gifts. And I encourage you guys to go look at the origins of these holidays that we celebrate. It's going to give the holiday time so much more meaning to you. Okay. I promise. And then of course, Christmas. Christmas is the celebration of God coming to earth in the form of a man, as a baby being born in a manger, and um, and being here on earth to give the greatest gift to all men, people, women, and children, which is eternal life, right? And then he dies on the cross, and the whole history of Jesus. Go look it up. It's a very awesome story. And so this year, all three holidays are falling on the same day. So Merry Christmahkwanzikah. No one can tell me that I didn't wish you a happy holiday season, because it's all on one day. So there you go. Christmahkwanzikah. If you need to spell it, go look at the title of this podcast episode. But in any case, I can't believe it. We're here, you guys. We've made it through the year. I love that I get to share this bonus episode with you, because why the heck not? And I just want to share that this year has literally flown by, right? And for Thanksgiving, we did this thing. I don't really think it was planned, but we did it anyway, and it was super beneficial to everybody. And it definitely, I was able to apply it to the salon and spa, and it helped me really listen more. And when you listen, you can't really judge too much, because you're too busy understanding where you stand and where others are. So anyway, the whole thing was, we're sitting around the Thanksgiving dinner table. My mom asks all of us, everybody at the table, she goes, okay, everyone, what was your one complaint this year? Later she tells me she was just trying to, my family is not into playing games. Okay, we don't play games, we don't play charades, they're just kind of boring. Okay. And she went in that direction, and it turned out to be a hit. And so I went for it, because I really actually did have a complaint. My complaint was that my aunt decided this year that she was going to make a cornbread casserole. And everybody freaking loved this cornbread casserole. And I'm so happy everybody loved it for Thanksgiving. You know, it's a good Thanksgiving dish. 100%. I'm all about it. However, several years ago, I was the first one in my family to make a cornbread casserole. Okay. And at the time, nobody ate it. It was the same freaking recipe. Nobody ate it. They were making all these faces, so disgusted with the cornbread casserole. They were all, according to them, confused as to what it was. They're a bunch of Yankees. Okay, my family is all from New York, and very European. So and I'm the only like Southerner. Okay, so this year, my aunt makes it, and everybody just loves it. They can't get enough. Meanwhile, my complaint at the dinner table was this. And so conveniently, nobody remembered my casserole that I made. No one. And it was barely touched, barely eaten. And I just I felt terrible. I was pissed off. I was like, oh my God, are you freaking kidding me? I made that, and every single one of you at this table told me that you didn't like it, that it was disgusting and gross. We don't make it. Don't ever make it again. And I haven't. Anyway, a couple days later, we found the picture of my cornbread casserole and of me pointing at it, and everybody, and I showed it to everybody, sent it to the group family text. And yeah, absolutely zero recollection of my cornbread, but I have the picture to prove that it was done and it happened. And so then everybody, I don't know, I think maybe they apologized, but they were just so stuck on, I don't remember, and How convenient, right? And so then we went around the table and everybody said their complaint. Of course, I don't remember theirs because I was so stuck on mine. But in any case, it was definitely a good conversation piece. And it was good to hear where everybody was at because you see how maybe you hurt them or how your presence affects others and vice versa. It definitely helps you to be more aware of your own, of who you are as a person. And so immediately, of course, I think about my team in the salon and spa, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh. So then the next couple days after Thanksgiving, up until this week of Christmas, you start listening to people at church, people in your salon, in your business, your family. And every single person's complaint, okay, they're actually voicing their unmet need. I know, mind blowing. This is something that I have learned, but it's one of those things that you kind of forget about because you're like, yeah, okay, whatever. You take it for granted. You take people for granted. You're too worried about yourself. But people's complaints is their unmet needs. And people who are constantly negative, they're constantly being a Debbie Downer, bringing people low, like, oh yeah, let's go do this. Oh wait, no, I can't stand those people. Like people who are constantly just bringing you down, they have a lot of, they're voicing and demonstrating how their hurts are really running their lives. Okay. And so it was really good. It was a really cool little lesson that I learned during the holidays this year. And it's always good to look at yourself, right? And so with your clients are going to come up to you and they're either going to tell you straight up, these bangs did not work for me, meet them, right? They are telling you their need and they need a solution. Employees, your renters, whoever you work with, they're going to talk about whatever's bothering them. And that's an unmet need that they want management to fill. Friends and family, like I'm talking about. For me, in my cornbread casserole, I wanted to be remembered. I wanted to be recognized. I was hurt that nobody ate mine, but they're all raving about this thing, and it was the same exact thing. It's all of those things, and we have to pay attention to ourselves. We have to pay attention to people. We have 2 ears, 1 mouth, 2 eyes for a reason. But the biggest lesson that the holiday season always teaches is that we as people first, because we're people first, and then we're beauty and barber pros, we must lose our egos. We must be humble. We must listen. We must be teachable. If you know everything, then you need to be in a room of people who know more than you. If you are just doing hair for the first year and you think you know more than a 40-year career stylist, there's something wrong, right? It doesn't match up. A first year stylist is not, it doesn't matter what, they will never know more than a seasoned hairstylist. Okay. Now, when it comes to clients, people in general, if they're telling you a complaint, making a request, if the request is a reasonable one, in other words, you can measure it, right? You can use the SMART method, which go back in the episode list of the BeautyPro podcast and go find SMART. I do talk about it. If you can measure a request and it's a reasonable thing, and you do have the ability to fill the request, you have the capability, the skill set, and so on and so forth, instead of letting your ego win and your pride get in the way, let your client, let your person who's talking to you, let them express themselves. Let them feel heard this holiday. Okay? I know this is a bonus episode and it's the day after Christmas, but there's still time. If you already had your annual family fight, there's still time to go back and apologize and say I'm sorry and make amends. Okay? This year is flown by. There's only 1 week left. And so let them win. And if you can meet their need, do it. Why not? What do you have to lose? Except your pride, right? Now, if your client or family member or person in your life is making a unreasonable request, in other words, you measure it and what they're asking for is impossible. They want you to bring the moon into like a little closet, right? Because you can measure the distance of the moon, how big it is, how you can measure your closet, you can see the time it'll take for you to bring the moon to you, right? But then you physically as a human being cannot gift wrap the moon. You don't have a big enough lasso. You can't pull it out of its orbit. It is an unreasonable request. Okay? If you cannot fulfill their need of what they're asking, have a conversation about why they were making such a request. Don't block their number. Don't put up your hand to their face. Don't walk away and call them names and crazy. No. Provide a solution to that person. Have a conversation. Ask questions of why do they want the moon in their closet instead of making fun of them and saying, girl, you're crazy. No way. And block their number. No. Refer them to an astronaut that can give them a better answer since they don't want to listen to you. You know what I mean? This is the lesson that I learned. Okay, I'm pretty stoked about it, honestly. I love learning all these things, and it makes my life better. And I'm sharing it with you because my hope is that it inspires you to be a better version of you this holiday season. Okay? I am only in this place of total optimism, of total connection and relation to you, and putting this all out there for you to hear and listen and be on the interwebs for all of eternity because I've had my own demons I've had to fight, right? Our personal lives and what we go through in our childhood, in relationships and situations that we put ourselves in really does affect us. And if we let it, it can change who we are at our core. And I might be a business coach, but I'm an internationally certified life coach as well. I have the tools to help you discuss and peel back these intimate details of our lives. And so that's why the BeautyPro podcast can be and is such an intimate place. And I talk so much about these deep things because we are in an industry where we give so much of ourselves that it is very possible that we lose who we are. We don't know what we like. We don't know who we are when we're not behind the chair, whether it's in the aesthetics massage room or at the nail table or behind the styling chair. Our personal lives affect our work, and they will and do affect our holiday season. My parents divorced when I was 9, and it was a very abusive, emotionally, psychologically abusive relationship. And unfortunately, it's only been maybe within the last 5 years that I have been able to fully enjoy maybe no, I'll say maybe the last 5 years my healing journey really began with all of those wounds, all of that trauma, and then maybe the last 2 or 3 years I have actually been able to fully enjoy the holidays. I have never been one to be fully joyful and happy at Christmas time, at birthdays, none of those really like sentimental holidays. Valentine's Day is another one. They have been always very hard for me because of my parents' divorce. And on top of that, I have daddy issues, baby. I would love to say I don't have daddy issues anymore, but these are scars that stay with you forever. But when you heal and you treat them, instead of constantly ripping and remaking the wound, you're able to move past it and enjoy. And so divorce is trauma to every single person involved. That's why, you know, divorcing somebody when it's just you and the person, what is that? Annulment. That's why annulments are such a big deal, because it only affects the two people ultimately, right? The parents of each are sad, but an annulment is like, let's do it like it never happened. But the minute you bring children involved at whatever age, they can be newborns, they could be kids like I was, they can be grown ass adults, and your parents get divorced, it's not a solution. It's a bigger problem, right? It's trauma for real, because no one wants to own their responsibility. That's what happens at the time. And the people who do heal from divorce are those who take responsibility for their share of the problem. And so if you're listening to this and you're an adult and you say, well, first of all, I hope you'd be an adult listening to the BeautyPro podcast. But if you say, oh, no, my parents needed to get divorced, their decisions have no effect on me, you are a liar. You are lying. You are lying to yourself, and you want to convince everybody else around you that you don't have a problem. Honey, we all have problems, and there is no shame in owning your problems, okay? Because of my parents' divorce, I was in a 5-year relationship longer than that. It was like the majority of my 20s. I was in relationships that were so toxic, so bad, that I lost the little girl inside of me, didn't know who she was because of my parents' divorce, which led me to believe that my relationships were normal, that they didn't mean anything by it, that I should not be a business owner, that's for rich people. Like, all of these beliefs started coming that I shouldn't want to maximize who I am as a person using all my gifts and talents. Like, this is where it was coming, that I'm just good for sex, nothing else. Okay? I have all those desires of having children and having a family and growing, but those dreams don't count, right? You should really just give in to what your significant other wants. Your things don't matter. They can take all of your money, and you essentially end up working for your boyfriend or for your girlfriend just to keep them around. They're constantly fighting with you. They're constantly picking on you and your family and this and that. Baby, that's not a healthy thing. Okay. And where does it all stem from? Why are you in a relationship like that? Because somewhere in your childhood, you thought that behavior was good, and it's not, right? So yeah, if you say your parents' divorce, your parents' bad behavior doesn't affect you, you're wrong. If you're sad during the holidays, one, it's okay. You can be sad. I was sad for a long time. Two, it does not have to be this way. You do not have to have a miserable holiday season. If your parents are having a miserable time, it doesn't need to be the same for you. You don't need your parents to project misery onto you. You'd be like, oh, I don't know. It doesn't affect me. Yes, it does. And it's okay. If your parents are having the greatest Christmas and you're not, that's okay too. Their happiness doesn't need to be projected onto you. You can have a bad holiday season. 3, listen, if you are not enjoying the holidays, if you're having a hard time, if a parent passed away, you didn't have a good relationship with them, you grew up in foster care in the foster system, and the holidays just suck, baby, my advice to you, and I rarely give advice, I just present solutions and you choose. But this time I'm going to straight up advise, go get healing. Go heal. Because not healing and not forgiving the people who have affected you most in your life is like drinking the poison and saying it's their fault. No, it's not. You always have a choice. People will manipulate your emotions so you feel a certain way, but at the end of the day, it is your choice to feel whatever it is that you feel. And the thing is that you feel it because it's a defense mechanism that you have created in your subconscious, thinking that this is you, but it's not you. Okay? The other thing is, don't be that person. You know what? If you're unhappy this holiday season, one, my heart goes out to you and I have so much compassion for you. I just want you to be able to feel that through the speakers. I have so much compassion for you because I've been there. And whether you know it or not, your energy is so contagious. And everyone who's around you, whether it's at work, whether it's family, whether it's your dog, they feel it. They pick up on your emotions, and it's a contagious feeling, good and bad. And so my what I have to say is, don't spread that. Don't project your unhappiness or your dissatisfaction or your disappointment of what has happened in your life onto others. It's not other people's fault, right? If we were all to take responsibility for the things in our lives that we could and can control, the world would be a much better place. But since we don't, we need to rewire our brains. We must heal. Sometimes that means hiring a coach, hiring a therapist, hiring both at the same time, and get a crash course on all the things that have happened to us and peel back all those layers so we can get to our core, right? This really truly is meant to be the happiest time of year, not because society is trying to force it down your throat, but because we all deserve to celebrate. Celebrate a win, celebrate a success, celebrate your healing, celebrate how far you've come, and letting somebody influence you and project their screw ups, their trauma onto you is stealing your joy. I know the people closest to us, sometimes our favorite parent, our significant other, they mean a lot to us and we don't want them to be alone, right? But sometimes they're the ones who are hurting us most. Sometimes they're the ones who are creating the most damage in our lives. And they probably don't even know it. Maybe they do. It is possible, which I have had to learn this, that parents can be jealous of their children. It is so crazy, but it's a reality. My point is that if you are unhappy and you're negative and you're spreading that instead of spreading joy in people's lives, keep it to yourself. Nobody wants to be around you. Don't be a negative Nelly, a Debbie Downer, because you will be alone. Promise. That's a promise. And it has nothing to do with me making it a promise in your life. It's just the way life goes. Another thing is clients, because we are on a business podcast, clients feel it and you attract what you put out. Manifestation is so real. What you tell yourself matters. And a lot of times what you tell yourself is not always the truth. especially when it comes to your fears and the negativity. It's not always true. Your fears, your insecurities, they will make you broke, and they will hold you incarcerated, and you will lose it all if you give into them every time. We all have insecurities. We all have failures. None of us are perfect in any way, but if you let that rule your life, you will lose. Don't sneak around. I've been talking about this a couple times in the last couple episodes. If you're in an open environment that everybody knows the same thing, there's no reason to sneak around. If you're sneaking around, I can guarantee you that management and your team already knows that you're going to betray them. Trust and believe. Okay? Hurt people for sure. But there's no reason to hurt people who have given you everything. Right? And maybe you don't see it now. Maybe you interpret that they have not given you everything. But one day you will see it. And maybe now you'll say, oh, well, it's just business. Right? But it's not just business, especially when people have been so open and honest with you. It's way more personal than that. I encourage you, go listen to the episode I did with Robert Cromines. We actually talk about that. But anyway, I'm not trying to be a downer here with this episode, okay? It's the exact opposite. I'm just trying to provide some pointers this year because it is the holidays. It's Christmahkwanzikah, okay? I have a Christmas tree up. I have a Hanukkah bush up, but I couldn't find anything for Kwanzaa, so I couldn't do it. But in any case, I am all about it. So, I don't know. It was like really hard to find anything with Kwanzaa. IJS. But anyway, the whole point of this episode is to kind of give you pointers on it's okay to celebrate. I want to normalize joy. I want to normalize the sadness that we all go through. I want to normalize healing. I want to give you a solution, provide a way for you to explore for yourself. Reach out, talk to me, let's connect, let's figure out what's going on, that you can't seem to enjoy the holidays as much as you want to, right? Like, that sucks to be the only one in a party who's not having a good time. Okay. So anyway, that is this week's bonus episode. I hope you enjoy it. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa. I don't know what to say for that one. But Merry Christmahkwanzikah. I hope you enjoy your time with your families. I hope you get some rest. And I can't wait to talk to you in the new year and in the next episode of the BeautyPro podcast. Have a great, great time. If you loved this episode, subscribe to the BeautyPro podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts so you never miss an episode. Don't forget to leave your reviews, stars, feedback so I can continue bringing the content you deserve and want most. Your feedback fuels this podcast. The more you give, the more you get back. You can follow me at The BeautyPro Coach on Instagram and Facebook. Want to contact me directly? Email me at befree@goldentruthcoaching.com.